Good morning, everybody. Here with head coach Dan Aaker of the Winter Warriors. Dan, before we get to this week's upcoming opponent, let's go ahead right away. Let's jump back to MVP. That performance defensively, as I've thought about it, top 10 performance overall in the history of Warriors.
We played well, didn't we? Yeah, and especially from a defensive standpoint, everything we really kind of wanted to do. You look back at that game, and we're probably fortunate we did not take advantage of some opportunities in the first half, and sometimes against really good teams like they are, that can come back to haunt you. We were inside their 50 the whole first half, and they only got outside the 50 the one time right before half, and then tried to shot down at the end, and to maybe get a quick score, but missed opportunities. That's probably a better way to put it offensively. We had opportunities, and we had some plays that I felt were there, and we didn't make the plays, but just a hard physical. That was one of the most physical games that I've been part of. Walking off, it just instantly in my head, it reminded me of the 2009 Wagner game when it was just a slugfest. And I caught myself even when we were on defense, just listening to the game a little bit and some of the collisions, and in Preston and Hastings, and some of those were just fun game. And we felt in control the whole game, but never really comfortable until it was over, because that's what they bring to the table with some of their big playability. And defensively, probably the only two things that we can say we could have did better were two penalties. We extended drives, and that's the one they scored on, where we probably felt we could have got off the field and maybe even kept a shutout. And we need to play cleaner. We had some holding calls that hurt us offensively, and then two defensive penalties. So we got to play cleaner, and it's a nice thing about playing that well against a good team. You can still find things that you can always get better at. But quality win, the build up to that game. I don't know, for some reason out there, I think MVP doesn't get the credit that they probably deserve. And I told you specifically last week, they're a top 3 team without question. They played Bridgewater to 6 points. They played us to a touchdown. And they're a team to be reckoned with, and there'll be a team down the road that'll have to be reckoned with too. So quality homecoming win. Game we needed. Things had come pretty easy for us, and we had to battle and earn everything. And to come out on top of homecoming win is always nice. So it's definitely something we can build on. And but probably more importantly, a game that we needed. We had guys that were still sore on Monday because it was that physical, and that's good. We needed that type of game, and happy with our performance, and still can get better. So those are all good things.
This week we go to Chamberlain. Before we talk about this year's team, let's talk about last year's game. What a game.
Was, and not one that we were very proud of or happy with. We really felt we got outplayed, probably got outcoached. Gave up entirely too much defensively. We gave up 380 yards to them. We gave up 40 points to them. We gave up multiple big plays. So obviously we reminded our team of that on Monday, because we feel that we should be a better football team than what we showed last year up there. But they're going to be confident. Chamberlain's going to be confident playing us. They went toe to toe. Probably should have had that game. We were fortunate to have some big plays late that we needed every single one of them to pull out of that win last year. But it was also a win when we were in the huddle after the game, looking around. I don't think anybody felt good about the victory. Even though it was exciting at the end. But you want to feel good and clean about how you played. And we didn't play with much energy. We weren't ready. And the lack of discipline we played with in that game last year isn't indicative of the team we want to be. And we learned a lot from that game, too. I think moving forward, we really played good football after the Chamber game last year. So all that was a reminder on Monday, and then the things that they bring to the table, obviously, you got to be ready for. But we can't defensively play a game like that against them again. And big plays is a big part of it. I think, their two receivers. And when they moved Hawk to quarterback, it changed what they were able to do a little bit. It allowed them to get Evans at wide receiver again, and Ross is the one that really hurt us last year. Two deep threats, and that's what they'll do. They'll take shots, and a lot of them. And I don't know if you can necessarily stop those completely, but we've got to go up and attack footballs and not allow those to happen as frequently as we did last year. And then the double whammy is, we gave up 180 yards rushing against them last year, and a couple big plays too. And it's no secret. We talk about this every week. Our goal defensively is to stop the run and try to make teams one-dimensional, and then allows you, some things defensively to help. But when you get both, man, those are tough games to play defensively. So that's really the goal. I think tonight is limit the big plays and stop the run. They're formidable up front. Starting with Nash, and everybody knows who Nash is, and he's obviously an unbelievable football player. But they've got other guys there too. They're really big. They're huge up front. They'll have a huge size advantage on the line of scrimmage. So we got to counter that with aggressiveness and physicalness and technique but line of scrimmage will be a big part of what we want to do, offense and defense. They kind of been a little up and down like they were last year, but the Stanley County game is the one you look at and kind of scratch your head a little bit, but then you see some of the things they put on other teams. So I do know this, they're going to want us bad. You look at the streaks and the history of the two schools. We always get their best shot. They're going to be confident with the way they played us last year and feel this is a game that they can get. So we got to be ready for that. And I mentioned at the halfway point that the next 3 games we're going to be critical to our season, and we've got 2 under our belt, and this will be the 3rd one that we need to come ready to play and play to our top abilities and get better. And that's what I fully expect. We had a great week of practice again, and with the weather and the rain changed that a little bit, but I think it livened it up a little bit because it's the first time we've seen it. So they were having fun, and Wednesday, I talked to them after Tuesday's practice. Nice to have fun, see energy. We got to focus a little bit more, and I think that came Wednesday. And Thursday, we actually went in the morning before school. We had a freshman game last night, and I just wanted to keep our pregame walkthrough or our pregame practice the same with everybody there. So we got them up we were on the field at 6:15 under the lights, which is always kind of fun. We try to do that about once a year, and cold, but I think sometimes you mix a little of that up. It helps those kids focus. So we're ready, but I expected against a challenging team that brings some things that can really stress the defense in particular, and we're going to be really solid defensively.
We're in the back third of the season. You talked about the importance of this 3-game run. There are other games on the schedule tonight, big, that will affect PowerPoints. Webster versus Mobridge, but Chamberlain is 6-2, 5-3 type team. That's why this one's so important, correct?
Yeah, and we've never won an FCSD conference football. That's everybody's reaction. Of course, it's only been around. This is only the 3rd year, but we didn't. This is the 3rd year in the conference, and we have not won that. So that's goal number 1. And if we get this tonight, and we got Miller in the wings, so we have 2 left. But this is a big one for that tonight to win an SDS conference. And then just where we put ourselves, we've earned and played well to go 6-0, and you always say you can control your own destiny, you control the things you can control, and that's what's in our hands. Can't control what happens in those other games and where we end up PowerPoint wise, but we put ourselves in a good position, and it's a game that will certainly impact the overall scheme of the playoffs and where we're at, and if we're at home games and all that stuff that we'd like to do. So yeah, all that kind of ties together. But ultimately, it comes down. All that stuff comes down to let's take another step forward and get better again this week, and which we've continually did all year, and just play well. And probably goes back to what I originally said. Let's feel good about how we played the game in the end zone, no matter what that scoreboard says, and that's certainly the most important thing.
Good luck tonight, Dan.
Thanks, Jody.